Aggie Bonfire Collapse by Justin, Max, Calvin, and Gabriel. Every autumn, Texas A&M lights a giant bonfire to symbolize their burning love for A&M and Aggie culture as they go against UT. The tradition has been going on for over 90 years and is supposedly one of the largest student-led organizations in the U.S. It happened on November 11th, 1999. At approximately 2:40 in the morning, the Aggie Bonfire collapsed, killing 12 students and 12 students and 27 were injured. Just by coincidence, the team that year decided not to wrap the bottom level with steel cables, causing it to have a weaker foundation. And they were behind schedule, so they inaccurately placed the second level of logs, which caused the first level to be 2 times weaker. When caution was reported, no action was taken. The bonfire had collapsed many times before, but nobody was hurt in those collapses, so nothing was done about it. There were no blueprints for the bonfire, and students just estimated it. They built it way too tall, and the wire was not strong enough for the logs.
Whenever performing any sort of engineering project, many engineering skills are always required and necessary to be present in that project. For example, you need a blueprint, you need some sort of design every time you're building something. You need to test it out, do multiple test cases in order to create a more and more perfect product. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck with an imperfect product to start off with, which can lead to disasters. In this case, there was no blueprint or records of how to properly build the Aggie Bonfire. And over the 90 years, it was actually traditional for underclassmen to build this bonfire for the upperclassmen for the UT game. And it turns out that only a few upperclassmen every year helped the underclassmen to build it, to help this tradition continue on every year. So every year, only a few upperclassmen were helping these inexperienced underclassmen build this structure, which tended to fall apart rather easily. And actually, when doing our research, we found that there was a quote from a professor that the bonfire was never built the same way twice. So there was absolutely no consistency when building this tower. So another thing that can be brought up is that you need to, in this case, you need to test this massively humongous bonfire, which was, I believe, 55 feet high, which was actually over the suggested safety limits of this. But since it was such a strong sign of Aggie tradition, it was never really questioned, even when some signs of it collapsing in previous years were brought up. It was never questioned that anyone could be hurt, because in the past 90 years nobody ever was, which was unfortunate when the accident did occur. So now I'd like to pass it off to Max.
Alright, so there's another skill within engineering that was lacking prior to this incident, and that is communication. Communication is probably the most underrated skill within the entire engineering field. So there's a few points that I can make about this. The first one is, if a person is concerned with a system or design, he or she should feel not just allowed, but obligated to share his or her concerns to other people. Even if it is just one person who seems skeptical, you never know when he or she could be right. The second point is if someone, after that person expresses their concerns, the people who are listening, they should have an open mind. They should hear all of the arguments and reasons, and they should listen carefully to every detail, and should accept their ideas or theories and not reject them. So in Texas A&M, there was this man named Teddy Hirsch. He was a civil engineering major, so he was pretty good with stability and structure and stuff. And this bonfire that's built every year, he was suspicious of its stability and structure. And so he's been, for years, going to the Texas A&M administration expressing his concern. Unfortunately, the Texas A&M administration did not do much, and they did not listen much to him because they only wanted to. They said that they would only interfere with this with the people who build the bonfire if serious laws were being broken. Now, little did they know that there were students operating cranes without licenses, so serious laws were being broken. But nevertheless, they did not listen. And so then the third point is that after everyone has listened to that idea, if it is agreed upon that there is a malfunction in the design, everyone needs to take serious action into changing that idea or design. Like Gabriel mentioned, you can't wait until people are hurt, because this was the third time that it collapsed. Not the first time, the third time. Twice, no one was even close to being hurt. But had they actually seek change in the structure of the bonfire or done some form of change regarding this bonfire tradition, maybe these 12 people who were killed and these 27 people who were injured would not be hurt or killed, and they would be alive and healthy right now. And so then lastly, if I can finish this off with the last point, it's that after everyone has had that discussion, you need to have a true, honest conversation over whether the product itself is worth continuing. Because this bonfire, it's a fun tradition, but 12 people were killed. Is it worth continuing? All right.
Alrighty, everybody. I'm here to talk to you about the ways that the Aggie Bonfire event could have been prevented. I think one of the things that all of us engineers have to do is, whenever we're building something, whether it be a program or a structure, you got to do test cases. Why? Because test cases, they help you see what you need to fix, what you did good on, and how you can improve it. Another way would be, as you heard, that they did have upperclassmen helping them on the bonfire, but maybe lack of supervision. They should have everybody, I guess, ask them for a second opinion just to see what they are doing, how they can improve it as well. And then lastly, I would say, yes, that year they never built, or throughout all the Aggie Bonfire, they never built it twice. I would say that if they had a set of instructions, they could have probably done that, but I'm not saying taking shortcuts is bad and being curious, but you got to realize the outcome, the consequences that come along with taking shortcuts. Thank you.